All right, guys, welcome back to the greatest show on this side of the internet where you get to defend takes you may or may not believe in. Today we have Dave DuFour and Andrew Schlecht, and we are back with Defend the Take Oklahoma City Thunder edition. Guys, Oklahoma City Thunder have been pretty good this season. And
Not bad.
Yeah. We got some interesting takes for us. But to decide who gets which side of the take, as always, we got a trivia question. And the trivia question today is, the Oklahoma City Thunder are named after the Thunder. How many average days in Oklahoma City, according to Wikipedia, does it rain every year?
Wow, that's a tricky one.
So, Andrew, since you are the guest
in Oklahoma City too, this feels unfair.
It did rain today.
You get to take the first chance at this. How many?
87. 87.
87. Oh, wow. Okay. All right, Dave, what is your guess?
88.
The correct answer is 84.
Oh,
84.
Oh, I was so close. Like
that was
actually so close.
I mean, it's like a quarter of the year, basically. It rains there.
Yeah.
Is that more than the average place in America?
No, I mean, I don't think so. It's it's the Great Plains though.
Yeah.
It is kind of more arid. I don't know, man. That's a little bit more rain than I would have thought.
Yeah, it does sound
like some rain. We get some rain out here. We need a lot of times we say the phrase, we need some rain. We could
need some rain. That's right.
Well,
shout out to Texoma,
before you choose the pro or the con side, the three takes we have today are: number one, the Oklahoma City Thunder would make the NBA Finals if Nikola Jokic played in the East. Number two, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander will win MVP this season. And number three, Shai will end his career as the greatest in Thunder history. So, Andrew, do you want the pro side or the con side to all of these arguments?
I'll take the con side.
Oh, wow. Wow, we got a local hater here.
Wait, I can't believe we didn't get a curveball there.
Wow.
On the opening question. He normally hits me with a curveball. But he didn't this time.
I just wanted to make it simple.
You know what? I see your game here. It's new year, new Sam.
Yeah, I'm just straightforward today.
That's it.
So the way it works, guys, as always, is the pro side will get 60 seconds to give their take. Then the con side will get 60 seconds. And then it's an open discussion trying to convince me who is correct. So again, the first take today, the Oklahoma City Thunder would make the NBA Finals if Nikola Jokic played in the East. Dave, since you are the pro side, you get to begin. Your 60 seconds starts now.
I got to admit, I'm a little bit jealous of Andrew here because the con side is going to be a little bit more fun because it's going to be all from your imagination. If Nikola Jokic was on the Oklahoma City Thunder today, they might not have lost a game at this point in the season. I mean, does that not put everyone at their perfect position and give you another, creator, ball handler, the best player on the planet? That's pretty incredible.
That's the question. That's not the question, right?
They win the title. Chet Holmgren as the 4 next to Nikola Jokic. I mean, that's excellent defense in the interior. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander coming off DHOs. I mean, this is kind of like a dream scenario, I would think, for the Oklahoma City Thunder. If they could land the best player in the sport and add him to a team that's, currently looking like one of the 2 or best 3 teams in the West, I mean, I think that's a no-brainer run to the finals right there. Maybe a 16-0 run once you get to the playoffs. I mean, we've seen Jokic do it. This is a 2-time MVP. Should be working on his 4th MVP right now.
Time.
Yeah, it's a title.
Before Andrew begins, we're giving off some negative points to start.
Negative point, Andrew.
Negative point to Andrew for interrupting. Cannot interrupt. But also negative point to Dave. Dave, that's not the question.
It was the question. Would they win the title?
That wasn't even the question. That's why I interrupted. It wasn't even the question.
It doesn't matter. You cannot interrupt for any reason, Andrew. So that's an automatic negative one. Dave, the prompt is the OKC.
Oh, man. Oh, wow. In my head, I said, if he was on the Thunder.
No. If he played in the East. All right. So -1.
Oh my God.
It's only -1.
That's fair. That's how the game works. I read this. I went to the gym and I was like, thinking, man, if Jokic was on the Thunder. So I read this like 2 hours ago. Oh no. What a disaster.
Yeah. Okay.
What a disaster.
Andrew, your 60 seconds begins now.
So here's the deal. This is the second youngest roster in the NBA. It's of course they've been really good. Their net rating is really good. I'll point to the Cleveland Cavaliers, who had both a top 5 ranking in offense and defense last year, lost in round 1 to the Knicks, who are not that's not a very good team. Okay, and they lost because of their age and experience. The amount of playoff, the person who has the most playoff experience on this team, his name is Davis Bertans. That's it. Nobody else has really any playoff experience at all. Luguentz Dort has played in 1 series. Shai has played in 2 series, both as like the 3rd and maybe like 5th best player on the roster. He didn't have playoff experience. You have to go through the fire a little bit. And there's still some good teams in the Western Conference, despite the Nuggets being completely off the table. There's a lot of good teams. The Timberwolves are really good. They've been
Time. All right.
Man, incredibly embarrassing here. But I mean, look, man, it's so obvious to me that the Oklahoma City Thunder, this is the 2014, 2015 Golden State Warriors that we're watching right now. I think that, this is a team that if they didn't have that roadblock of Nikola Jokic in the way, whether he was on the team or in the East, I think that this team is just, it's their time. They're on the way up. There's no perfect team right now. And I actually think that that's a perfect time for a young team to come in and surprise everybody. The scouting report isn't even out for all these guys. I mean, Chet Holmgren shows us something new almost every single game. He's one of the better defenders in the league already as a rookie. It's kind of incredible. I think they just have all of the right pieces. I mean, Andrew, if I can quote you, they don't even need a guy. They like where they're at. They like how they play. They don't even need to make any trades to make this run, in my opinion, if Jokic is out of the way. Glad you agree.
Andrew,
I mean, it's not about about if to make a run. It's like they don't want to make a trade until they know what they have.
Mm-hmm. And they have a team that would make the finals if not for Nikola Jokic.
They're really good. I've watched every single minute multiple times this season. They're really good. They're a really good team. I just think they're too young.
Does that matter? Like, does playoff experience actually matter? I know it's something we say, and we always do this thing. Well, we need to see them do it. Well, there's a bunch of, we said that about the Nuggets, and then the Nuggets did it, but nothing changed with the Nuggets. They just did it. That's the only thing that changed. And I think that with the Thunder, we'd say the same thing. They haven't done it yet, but they could do it.
Yeah, I'm not saying they can never do it. I just think, like, for a team who's never done it together to go to the playoffs and to do the whole thing, that's a lot to ask.
You don't count last year's play-in experience as playoff experience?
Oh, no. Because the thing about the playoffs is, like, they're a completely different animal. Like, you get multiple games of an entire coaching staff, like, poking and prodding at the things that you do worst.
Mm-hmm. And Mark Daigneault, though, probably coach of the year front runner. That whole coaching staff is excellent. So they're going to have a little bit of a coaching advantage even on some of these matchups in the playoffs. It just, when it comes down to it, I think I just trust those players, trust that coach. And if Nikola Jokic isn't out there, this is an easy run to the finals.
If Nikola Jokic is in the East, Andrew, who does win the West then? If it's not OKC?
If it's not OKC, I know that the Lakers are not in great shape, but the Lakers got to the Western Conference Finals off of a play-in run, and they're going to make some changes here at the trade deadline. I think the Clippers have been really good lately. Like, if the Clippers are healthy, that's a team that can do it. The Dallas Mavericks have made a run to the Western Conference Finals with less talent than they have today. Like that, there are teams out there that are really tough. Phoenix, I'm not a Phoenix believer, but Phoenix has got some guys. The Timberwolves. There's a lot of different teams that can do it. Outside of OKC, there's a lot of different teams that also pose some, like, pretty tough matchups for the Thunder in particular. Even Sacramento. Like, I like Sacramento. There's a lot of, like, good teams in the West, and I believe that it's more likely that there's a surprise team that comes out of the West than it is the Thunder.
So it's not the Nuggets without Jokic?
No.
Definitely I don't think so. No. That's more play-in range, I think.
Yeah, they barely play in, actually, I think. There's a case to be
Depends
made.
on who the center. Like if you're saying a league average center, yeah, they're in the fight for the play-in.
Yeah.
I like them less than Houston, maybe, without Jokic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Odd. I mean, he's just it would be such a gaping hole for them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for some context, this is definitely some recency bias, but this past Saturday, I was playing basketball with a friend.
Okay.
And like any hoopers do, we were just listing names of basketball players that we remember. And we randomly were talking about Matthew Dellavedova's Linsanity run in the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
And with that in mind, playoff experience does not matter. It does not matter. It does not matter. He made the NBA Finals without ever playing a playoff game in his career. And so Dave gets the point.
This is the greatest game ever invented.
Wow.
Ever.
Wow.
From complete embarrassment to from misreading the question to success. Oh, wow. What a game. What a game, Andrew. Welcome to my arena.
Dellavedova being the reason. Wow.
The reason we were talking about him was because my friend was trying to buy basketball shoes, but he wanted like meme shoes. Like he didn't want like an actual like signature like player shoes. And so he's like, whose shoes could I buy that could be like a meme? And I'm like,
does he want meme knees though? Like that's the problem, right? Like meme shoes is meme knees. I care too much about my meniscus to trust him with some random shoes I saw off the internet.
My friend bought Matthew Dellavedova's one time, and they looked so ugly, but also he was so bad at the game. So I don't know. Maybe there's a correlation.
Yeah.
Prompt number 2. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander will win MVP this season. Dave, you are the pro side. Your 60 seconds begins now.
I mean, I think this one, there's a lot of traction with this. Number one, they're going to be one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the West, I think. And it's all about a regular season. So forget the playoff stuff. Number 2, Shai is compelling, and he's been excellent. He was an All-NBA first-team player last year, so voters know who he is. He's got a lot of good, positive press. He continues to show up in primetime big moments. I mean, this game against the Celtics, I mean, he is always present when the Thunder are playing and winning, and especially like that run they had over the holidays where they sort of beat everyone. They beat the Nuggets, they beat the Celtics, they beat the Warriors. Those sort of things matter for voters, especially the East Coast folks that aren't staying up to catch all of the Thunder games. So I think Shai is on his way there. Voters want a new MVP, I think, after all the years of repeats, and Joel Embiid, who's kind of been in the mix. Shai is a perfect guy to fit that bill. Need another guard MVP anyway. So yeah, I think Shai is going to win MVP this year.
Time. Okay. Andrew, your 60 seconds begins now.
The only good team the Thunder have not beaten is the Philadelphia 76ers, who have Joel Embiid, who's scoring 34.6 points per game, 11.8 boards, 6 assists, and a steal with 2 blocks. Holy smokes, it's going to Joel Embiid. Their management has continually just torn apart what could have been an amazing team over and over and over again. And yet, Joel Embiid continues to show up, and he creates just something amazing out of something very little. And this season, he's doing it again. He's been unbelievable. He just ended a massive streak of 30 and 10 games. He's been the best player in the league. He's in his prime. The Sixers team, they still have a lot to prove themselves as a team. But as far as regular season goes, Joel Embiid's the best regular season player. And I don't think it's particularly close. Scoring there, he's first in points per game.
Time. All right, before we discuss, Andrew, you're getting docked a point. You made this claim that the only good team they have not beat is the Philadelphia 76ers. They also have not beat the Orlando Magic this season because they have not played a game, and they are a good team. And so that is
good team. Point. Good team. We're talking like top half of the conference. You're going to dock
Magic are a good team. Magic? Do you want another -1?
21 and 15.
All right, -1 again. We're at -3.
This is like technical fouls being handed out over here. He hit you with the tech.
Yeah, you cannot be making claims like that. But discuss.
I'll say this, and Joel Embiid is going to be in the mix, especially because of the scoring. But Joel Embiid has overwhelmingly this season been a bum hunter. You go and look at his biggest performances, it's been against some of the worst teams in the league. And let's not forget, this guy dodged Jimmy Butler in the Miami Heat on Christmas Day. Just dodged him. He doesn't like to show up in these big moments. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a man who has yet to back down from a challenge, constantly showing up and constantly showing out on his Instagram account. When he puts the moves on you, when he gets you on that baseline and backs you down and hits you with the fadeaway, you better know he's posting about it right after the game. And this is what I'm saying about Shai. He is building the MVP narrative with the heads of fallen greats at his feet. He embarrassed Steph Curry everywhere, on the court, on Twitter, on Instagram. And I'm telling you, this sort of stuff matters. When the Oklahoma City Thunder start putting out their packets for MVP, and Andrew Schlecht, he's going to take the photo. He's going to put it on Twitter. He's going to have it on his desk. Let's say Shai for MVP. And now he can sit here during this game and play by the rules of the game and pretend like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander isn't the MVP, the rightful MVP. But we'll all know what he feels in his heart. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA MVP.
Embiid didn't duck Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler didn't even play in that game. And in fact, Joel Embiid's best game this season.
It was after he found out Embiid wasn't playing.
Oh, he's interrupting here. It's against the
Well, this is okay.
Timberwolves.
This is the banter
Minnesota
section.
Timberwolves, 51, 12, and 3, 2 steals and a block against the best team in the Western Conference. And also against the Oklahoma City Thunder in a 4-point win, 35-11, 9 assists, 1 steal, 4 blocks. This guy is not somebody who's just putting it on bad teams. This guy's doing it against other teams every single night. He's one of the best players on one of the best teams. Joel Embiid has been amazing this season.
I'm going to get laptops banned from this game. Got to get these stats out of here.
I was gonna mention, but Dave does get docked the point because Jimmy Butler did not play in that game.
Wait. Now, hang on. Jimmy Butler decided to sit after Embiid was already announced as out. So I'm just taking it as that. Jimmy Butler saying, I'm not going to play on Christmas. If Joel isn't playing, I'm not playing.
Doesn't matter. You're still docked the point. I do have a theoretical question, though. So in Major League Baseball, there's 2 MVPs every season, one for each league.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the NBA should also do 2 MVPs, where there's one for the East and one for the West?
Nah. The thing with baseball, number one, is a lot of games. And number two, they were doing the NL and AL were totally different. They were different leagues. And then you just played in the World Series. And I think that, as a matter of fact, there might be an argument now with the, interleague play just being a part of baseball now, like constantly. They should maybe get rid of it. But they'll keep it because, there's so many players. NBA, though, 5 guys on the court at a time per team. Like 5 guys, like one guy makes a huge difference. And I think having one MVP, because it's really 150 guys. And out of that list, it's 20 guys that really have a shot at winning MVP who make that much of a difference. So I don't think you'll ever see them switch East and West. I don't think they should. Shai is good enough. Like, he's the best player in either league. So
yeah, we're already the participation trophy generation. We're going to start giving out 2 MVPs.
We're giving out clutch awards and we're giving out all kinds of stuff that we already don't care about. I think with the MVP, because what you don't want is to devalue the MVP, which happened in baseball. I bring this up all the time. The year that Alex Rodriguez won MVP for hitting 52 home runs for the Texas Rangers on a team that won, did they win as many games as he hit home runs that year? I can't remember. It was pretty close. That's not good, right? Like, I understand that baseball is an individual sport, and you'll never get that in basketball because we do value winning. But the Russell Westbrook season, which, by the way, amazing season for an individual player to have carried that team to that sort of record. But traditionally, the NBA MVP has been from the top 2 teams in either the East or West. I actually like that. It should be the most impactful or best player on one of the best teams because individuals can impact the game so much.
Andrew, do you agree that, does winning matter? Like, how much does it matter, I guess, in an MVP award?
I think it depends on the context of the season. So the amount of value that Russ was bringing to that 2017 Thunder was immense.
Huge.
Like, that team was not good. You look at some of the names like Oladipo. Oladipo's was not good that season. He had a
No.
really rough year. They didn't have anybody that was really worth anything except for Russ that season. And you look at his clutch numbers, he didn't win it
Mhm.
based upon the triple double. The triple double was a part of the conversation. He won it on the fact that he willed that team to win night after night after night. And so I do think like you can look across the league that year and say, wow, like I don't think there's anybody more valuable to their team than Russ. Now, that is a special year. It takes a special year for that to be considered. So I don't want to say like winning is the only thing that needs or one of the only things that
But
needs to
he
be.
did win, though. That's the thing. He won specifically.
He
Like
did.
there was a highlight reel of him winning games, like with
Yeah.
not only just with game-winning shots, but with shots in the clutch. I mean, he was crazy that year.
Yeah, but like seventh in the West,
Yeah.
like that is not typical. But it does come typically from one of the best teams. And I think that that should be how it happens typically, but I think you need to widen your scope a little bit for these like special historic moments that happen through the history of the league.
Yeah.
Another follow-up. Do you guys think NBA MVP voting should take place after the playoffs? Like, should
It's a
playoff
regular season
I mean, it's a
award.
regular season award. And I know that a lot. The thing is, I actually think these awards should tell the story of the season, which is why Russ winning that year, it doesn't bother me nearly as much as it maybe used to, right? Because it does tell the story of that season. That season, I had Kawhi as the MVP. I mean, he was the best player on the best team and two-way guy and all this stuff. But in hindsight, I actually am totally fine with the Russ MVP. I do think that the narrative stuff matters quite a bit.
So the narrative for you, Dave, is that Shai is going to make this OKC team.
I mean, I think he's
Winners in the
made
West.
this. This is the next step for Shai too. I mean, let's not pretend like he hasn't been, incrementally moving up the ladder in his career. I think now, it's funny. I've been teasing Seth Partnow because he does his annual tiers. Well, since his tiers came out, I think that Shai has moved up a whole tier. This is my opinion of his tiers, but I just what he has done. This is sort of the path that these guys take, and they become MVP candidates, and it's perennial. I think this is the we're entering the 5 to 7 years of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander being in the mix for all NBA first team, MVP consideration, and that sort of stuff. I mean, he's just that level of player.
All right, final question before I render my judgment. This is for you, Andrew. But if Joel Embiid, let's say, sat out the rest of the season and was not eligible to win the award, then is Shai the winner if there is no Joel Embiid?
For this season, I think that you could declare that it is Shai. I think that's why I side with Embiid as like my only guy because it's like really like Shai versus the field. But I honestly think it's going to be Shai versus Embiid. I just think that the Nuggets don't care enough about this regular season. And then it's kind of everybody else because of the performances that Shai has had, both on the offensive and defensive ends. Yeah, I think it's probably Shai. But Embiid's statistical impact on one of the best teams in the entire league is why I would lean Embiid in this scenario.
All right, Andrew, you were a little soft on your take. Could have been a little harsher and said Shai is not in second place, and so Dave will get the point.
Wow.
To be fair, I cut a promo that the Thunder should actually pull and use when they do Shai's MVP promo reel because I mean I actually believe it. I think that he is number one. What Andrew just said, he's in the mix for sure. I just think that the narrative stuff matters so much, and if the Thunder are the second best team in the West, I'd put my money on Shai.
Yeah.
Well, headed into the final take, we got a score of 1 to -3. But it is winnable. It is entirely winnable.
It is winnable because it's all arbitrary, Andrew.
No. It is very objective. There is an objective set of rules that we live by. But the final take, probably the most interesting one. But SGA will end his career as the greatest in Oklahoma City Thunder history. Dave DuFour, the floor is yours.
Well, as I said, he's going to win an MVP this year. That's just, let's mark that on the list. He's going to win an MVP this year. We're going to get Nikola Jokic out of the Western Conference so that they can make the finals this year. And then he would have matched all of the accomplishments of Kevin Durant as a Thunder, right? Kevin Durant is the greatest Thunder ever right now. I think that there's no question about that. It's him or Russell Westbrook. Russ being there longer, also won an MVP, you know, kind of did the same thing. I just happen to think Durant is such a better player that he's higher in the echelon. Shai is on that Kevin Durant path to me. All NBA first team, as I mentioned, going to be an MVP candidate. He's already an MVP candidate, likely to win the MVP or at least be in the top 3 in voting this year. I think he's a future MVP candidate, going to win a title probably here with this very good team. So I think if he sticks around for long enough, yeah, greatest Thunder ever. He's gonna have the resume for it.
Andrew, you can take the floor.
I think people discount both Russ and Kevin when we think about this conversation, and we rush to judgment. Like, can he be this? Can he be that? Boy, it is a lot to accomplish what both Kevin and Russell did in Oklahoma City. I think Russell Westbrook is the best Thunder player of all time. I think longevity, I think what he meant to the fan base, I think what he's meant to the city puts him over Kevin. The way that Kevin left, Kevin can't be named the best player in Thunder history because of some of the stuff that he did. However, they both have accomplished a lot. They've both been to the Western Conference Finals multiple times. They both have won MVPs here. They both have actually done all of the things. Now, Shai could do those things. He hasn't done any of those things yet. He hasn't even won a playoff series, let alone been to the NBA Finals like both of those guys. He has to actually do it. Now, does he have the potential to do it? Sure, but he hasn't done any of it. He's not done one of those things yet.
Time.
Say that he's going to.
Time.
I will say...
No, hold on. Dave, you're getting docked the point. Kevin Durant is not the greatest in Thunder history because he didn't go to UCLA, but Russell Westbrook did, and so that's a minus point. And Andrew gets a point for correctly naming Russell Westbrook as the greatest in OKC.
Look at how fast the tides have turned.
0 to -2 now, but keep going.
I'll say this. Look, over the weekend or right before the weekend, some news came out that the Orlando Magic are going to retire Shaquille O'Neal's jersey. He played there for 4 years. Shaquille O'Neal is the greatest magician ever, I think. Maybe he's in the mix. And he only played there for 4 years. Now, I would give it to Dwight Howard because I go to the longevity thing. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has to play there for a long time, right? Like, he needs to be there for a decade to even be able to sniff this. And so, like, me just knowing how the NBA works, I would say it's unlikely. There's a myriad of reasons. But if he does, I do think he is going to have the sort of career and the team success, which is the most crucial part of this. You look at how good this team is already. I think they're going to be even better next year and probably the year after that. I mean, we're talking perennial finals contender as long as they can keep this squad together. He's got a really good shot to win a title or two in Oklahoma City. So even if he doesn't hit that decade mark, I think that the accomplishments that he can pull off in a very short run here with the talent that's around him and the shift in the league, he may have an argument there. The longevity, I will admit, the longevity is the hardest part. I mean, that's the hardest part for any player, though, is to stay in one place for a long time. I mean, if the Thunder ran into some bad luck, he has very little control over whether or not he sticks around or not. You know, there's a world in which the Thunder could say, oh, well, we could get, a Herschel Walker trade if we move on from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I mean, I know they would love to have him in Toronto. They're trying to collect the whole setup there. So, you always have to worry about a player not being in a place for a long time. But I think if he's there, he should pull it off.
4 Western Conference Finals runs, 1 NBA Finals run for Russ and KD, like as a duo. Like, to reach those heights, what Shai needs is a running mate that's going to be as good. And I think the Thunder have guys that have potential to be as good. But boy, those are high stakes there. And like getting there, actually getting there. Like, we can all use our imaginations. This is all theoretical at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great. Like, we can look at the West, this team, that team. I think back whenever Russ and KD were there, we thought, hey, they're going to get multiple titles. They're going to win multiple titles. And then the Golden State Warriors of 2015 came along. Boom. That's all gone because of one team. And so it could just take one team to kind of blow this all up for the Thunder too. And that's what happened. And so you can't control what's going to happen outside of there. Could this happen for SGA? Sure, but it's all theoretical at this point. And to say that he's going to reach the Western Conference Finals 4 times, the NBA Finals 1 time, man, that's a high watermark. That is tough stuff to do. There aren't many players in league history that could do that. And so to me, it's theoretical. It's the mark is too high at this point for a guy like Shai, who just hadn't really even done anything. He hadn't won one playoff series yet.
Here's a question. And then this is, I mean, if they win a title, how many conference finals runs is that worth? Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, if they win a title,
infinity, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. So this year, if they were to win a title, he already has equaled what those guys did by winning a title, which neither of them did. Now, again, hard to win a title, and even more difficult to win a title when you've got a young team, right? No experience, as we've mentioned before.
Yeah.
So Shai Gilgeous-Alexander wins a title with these guys. Wow, how good is he? And so then that's what I'm saying for him. Like, even if he doesn't have the longevity, if he has that the peak, if he has a good 3-4 year run, I mean, does that move the needle for you, or does it have to be both? Because I mean, think about like LeBron James in Miami for 4 years. They win 2 titles. That's a hell of a career for a lot of players, and he did it in 4 years. So this is kind of, I mean, this is sort of like, how do you feel about accomplishments and whatnot? But I do think that he's that level of player that he could have a 3 or 4 year run where you say, wow, he's one of the best we've ever had. I mean, he already is going to be one of the best you've ever had. But I mean, a 3 or 4 year run where he is one of the 3 best guys in the league, you can accomplish a lot.
Yeah, I think that if that were the case, the answer would absolutely be no. It would never happen, because like the Raptors don't consider Kawhi Leonard the best Raptor of all time.
Right. Well, as one season, although maybe they should actually.
LeBron is not considered the best Heat player of all time.
True.
That's just not how it works.
Yeah.
Like, you have to have the longevity. You have to. And like for Russ to have stuck around for as long as he did until it was just like time to go, that to me is going to be a tough one to surpass. And to be the guy that stayed,
right,
and to be the guy that put the team on his back. I mean, that 2017 year, I don't think people that are outside of Oklahoma City can understand like the impact that had, not only on the team, but on the community of Oklahoma as we know it. Like, that to me is going to be so difficult to surpass. There are people's entire online personalities that are just about Russell Westbrook still, that are living in Oklahoma City. Like, that is like their only thing. There are guys here in the media that still ride Russell Westbrook's back to like 3,000 retweets because of Russell Westbrook. Like, they'll just tweet something nice about Russell Westbrook and then just like, boom, everything blows up. This dude is a living legend. There will be a Russell Westbrook statue outside of the new arena. SGA has a long way to go before he can do that. And he has to be able to capture the hearts and minds of the citizens of Oklahoma before he can even be thought of as somebody better than Russ.
Is there a chance?
There's a chance of everything.
That's all we needed.
I got a question. So for both of you guys, so let's say Shai only stays with the Thunder 2 more years. He wins a title one of those years. He's not the greatest at that point if he leaves?
No.
What if he wins back-to-back in 2 years and then leaves? Is he the greatest in OKC history? And he's clearly the cornerstone of the team at that point.
Yeah, at that point, it's longevity still is king.
It's spirit, right? Like, does he feel like a Thunder?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, when you think about the guy's career, see, I'm with Andrew on this. I actually don't like players.
-1.
Now we've just getting into a different thing. We've been going on too long. I can't fake it anymore. But because I think that rooting for just laundry sucks.
Yeah.
And like, I actually personally, I want the guys and the players and the community to have a relationship. That stuff is important. Otherwise, what's the point? Who are you rooting for? You're rooting for the Thunder, like okay, but you want to root for the guys on the Thunder. So I'm with Andrew. Win 2 titles, cool. If you don't stick around, hey man, it was nice to have you. But we're
Yeah,
not putting a statue up,
he'll be
right? This is why I'm
appreciated.
against the Shaquille O'Neal jersey retirement, and this is why I'm against all the tribute videos. Listen, man, tell the guys, hey, man, good to see you. We're glad to see you, and that you're still working. We don't need to interrupt the, that interlude between quarters or whatever with a tribute video for a
Yeah,
guy that didn't do anything.
yeah. If Shea won 2 titles and left, and then they played the tribute video for him when he came back, people would be
Totally
crying.
cool.
People would be crying because he left,
Right.
not necessarily because of what he meant. Dude, I was there when they played the Westbrook tribute video. Thousands of people had tears in their eyes because of what that man meant to this city for so long. Again, Shea is a great player, but the road to become what Russ was to this city is long and arduous, and it is going to, you have to stick your neck out for this city like Russ did to get there. And if he leaves on any of his contracts, that'll be enough for people to say, all right. Because like right now, I haven't said Kevin's name once. And is
No.
Kevin a better player, going to go down as a better player in the NBA history? Of course he is. Of course. Kevin actually won titles. Kevin actually did the thing that Russell's never been able to do. But like nobody even will sit and try to argue that Kevin was better. No one will do it because Russ meant that much to this city.
Well, what jersey is Kevin Durant going to go into the Hall of Fame in?
Dude, he can go.
That's the thing, right?
Dude,
Because
yeah.
Russell Westbrook is going to go in as a Thunder.
As a yes.
And I think Kevin Durant has in a lot of ways tarnished his own legacy. Now, I mean, for a myriad of reasons, but when you're one of the greatest players of a sport ever, and he is, to have worn 4 different jerseys is kind of weird. I feel the same way about LeBron. This is, and a lot of this is more sports sensibilities than life, right? Like this is more rooting for the guy and the team than just the laundry that he wears. So I mean, I'm with you there, but Russell Westbrook is absolutely going to go in as a Thunder, and that's without question. I think that's what it is. What team will Shea wind up entering the Hall of Fame as, right? Like what team is he a member of when he's going into that? And I think it's way too early to tell with the way players move for sure. But I get that with Russ. Matter of fact, the Thunder should play a Russ tribute video every time he comes back.
Yeah, people would love it. People would absolutely love it. When he comes, people stood up and cheered for him this season when he got a standing ovation. In fact, he got 2 standing ovations because when Russ came into the game, there was a timeout and people were cheering for him before then. And then after the timeout, they announced him. He got 2 standing ovations this season.
Would they ever bring Russ back?
See,
I honestly don't think so, because I just don't think it like quite lines up like timeline wise with what they want, and Russ isn't.
What if Russ was like their,
does.
I don't know, man. What if he's like their Manu Ginobili, and can be a 6th man for them, next season?
Dude, Russ, I mean, this team is all about guard to guard screening. Russ only sets screens on accident. So I just
That's true. That's true.
what do you think is like the percentage chance that Shea spends the majority of his career, at least, in OKC?
I mean, you have to bet against it at this point, right? With just the way that players move and want to try new things. I mean, you have to bet against it. Now, this team would probably have to do something pretty special for him in order for him to stay for a long time. But at this point, if you have a superstar in a small market in the middle of the country, you have to bet against it.
And the new CBA is extremely punitive once you get into that above that first tax apron. So it is almost by design going to end in one way or the other. The issue is, as these contracts start to unravel, the rookie deals start to go away, that team's going to start to get it very expensive very fast. And I don't know what the appetite is going to be like there. We'll see what the projections look like on the new arena deal. Because I think that that's going to factor into how competitive the Thunder can be from a salary perspective. But I'm kind of with you at this point. I think banking on player movement, unless it's, like Steph Curry, right? How rare is it to have a guy like that, and a team like that isn't ever going to trade him, and I can't say that about Oklahoma City with Shai,
Yeah.
just because we've seen them do it. Like they're a little bit, I would argue, one of the more shrewd operating teams in the league. Doesn't mean I've never heard that they treat players poorly, but certainly you can get shopped around very easily. So, and Shai is going to be a full, like, absolute max player in every sense of the word. So, those guys are also cheap though for what they give you for the salary. So you find a way to keep that guy and you try to keep the stuff built around him. So I hope he stays. It's a good story that the up and coming teams all play in the same division, which means they play a lot. You've got Memphis, New Orleans, Dallas, like that whole little section of the country there with Oklahoma City. I think having those teams clustered together is good. We're going to get some really good basketball, some epic playoff series, as long as we can keep these teams together. And I think Shai versus Luka is the future of the NBA. I think it's the next 6-7 years. And I want to keep those guys as close to each other as I possibly can geographically, because I want them playing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so after some thought and consideration, we have a first in Defend the Take history. Dave DuFour has been disqualified for blatantly saying that he has faked an argument. There is nothing fake about this show. We believe everything that we say. And so, by a final score of -2 to DQ, Andrew Schlecht wins.
Man, does that count as a loss?
Yes, of course it counts as a loss. You disqualified yourself.
That's all right. It was worth it. It was worth it. It was a good take. It was a good take.
You can't blatantly come out and say, I'm faking this take.
It was worth it. It was worth it.
All right. Well,
It was
okay.
worth it. It was a good take. Listen, man, rooting for laundry stinks. That's the take.
Well, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. Let us know who was correct, and it's never Dave because he's always cheating or something.
If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Fine.